Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this comment made me laugh. Ricky Smith said on Twitter, people were really saying Saban was going to assemble the Avengers after watching UGA dominate the past 2 years, and he went out and hired Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele. I tried telling you guys during the season, there is no off season in college football. I'm being dead serious. I don't believe in, oh yeah, it's college football off season. There's nothing to talk about. We're just going to have to wait around with our fingers shoved up our butt for the next 5 to 6 months, because that's not going to happen. There's always going to be something to talk about. And you already know, your boy Matt, I'm going to keep you updated. We ain't doing no intro. We ain't got time for all that. You know how it goes. If you like the content, consider joining. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. It is 100% free. But as besides the point, we got to talk about the breaking news, and that's Alabama's new defensive coordinator. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say quote-unquote breaking news, I mean this is breaking news. It came out about an hour ago. And matter of fact, I'll give you some perspective. I was working on an entirely different video for tonight, and the news came out, and yeah, here we are. So instead of posting the video I was going to post tonight, I'm going to post that tomorrow, and yeah, this one is going to go up tonight. Alright, look, I don't got time to try to drag this out. We're jumping straight into it. We all know that Pete Golden, he left to go to Ole Miss, and Bob, which is Bill O'Brien, he left to go to the Patriots, and that left Alabama and Nick Saban in a weird position because they had no coordinators. Was it really a bad situation? Not in my humble opinion, and most Bama fans felt the same way. A lot of Bama fans rather have no offensive coordinator and no defensive coordinator than Bill O'Brien and Pete Golden. That's how it was. All throughout the season, and really dating back to last season, Bama fans, they wanted Pete Golden gone, and they also wanted Bill O'Brien gone. It's not a secret. And trust me, Bama fans, I was in the same boat. However, what have I told you guys time after time after time? The easy part is firing them. You can fire them within a blink of an eye. The hard part that people don't understand and realize is replacing them. That is the hard part in all of this, and I think a lot of Bama fans start to realize that in the past couple of weeks. Getting a new defensive coordinator and getting a new offensive coordinator, great ones at that, it's hard to do. Yeah, if you're a team that goes 7-5, 5-7, it's not a big deal because you're not looking for the next great offensive coordinator. You just need a guy you can plug in. But at Alabama, it is one of the hardest things to do to get a new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I would argue it's harder to find a great offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator than a 5-star recruit. That is why I've preached to all my Bama fans. I love you guys to death, but it's why I preached it time after time after time. You got to pump the brakes on wanting to get rid of these guys left and right because you can't just fire a guy after one bad game. Let me put this into a better perspective so some of you can relate because I think a lot of people don't get where I'm going with this. Let's say, for example, you're a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 looking dude. You're a good looking dude. You're the basketball or football star at your local high school, so you more than likely can pull almost any 5 out of 10 girl. You can pull all these mediocre girls. However, let's say you're dating this one 10 out of 10. That's rare, right? To see a girl that's a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, they're not everywhere walking down the street. So let's say, for example, you don't really like that girl anymore. Y'all have your differences and you want to break up with her. Well, it's really hard to find another 10 out of 10. You see where I'm going with this? That's where it is for Alabama. Alabama, they can find a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10, but they have extremely high standards. Alabama, and especially Alabama fans, they don't want a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 mediocre offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. They want and they feel like they deserve the best. In reality, though, there's only about maybe 1 at max 2 to 3 10 out of 10 offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators floating around. And the reason for that is fairly simple because all the great offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, they got jobs. And that is what has left Alabama and Nick Saban in such a peculiar situation because there is no great offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators floating around. A lot of Bama fans won't admit this, but I will. Nick Saban in the past couple of weeks, he's been in a tough position. This search for a new DC and OC, it hasn't been going too great. As most of you know by now, we hired Tommy Rees, and as much as these Bama fans want to try to act like it's a great hire and they want to try and hype it up, it's not. It's nothing against Tommy Rees, but he's still relatively a young guy who's only been an offensive coordinator for a couple of years. I don't know how anybody can label hiring Tommy Rees as a good hire, rather less a great hire. I'm not here to talk about that. I've already done it. We got to get on to the breaking news. Sorry for rambling or whatnot. Alabama officially hired Kevin Steele about an hour or 2 hours ago. I'm sure a lot of you are sitting there wondering, yo, Matt, who in the crap is Kevin Steele? And that's a great question. It's the same thing with Tommy Rees. I'm not going to sit up here here and act like this is some great hire and big time name, because it's not, in my humble opinion. I gotta be brutally honest with all of you. I don't know too much about this guy. The only thing I know is, yes, he was at Alabama, but he wasn't there for long. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, he was there in Nick Saban's first year in 2007, which was not good whatsoever. We lost to Louisiana. Sorry. We lost to Louisiana Monroe. I don't even want to get into that. And also, I think he came back for 2013 through 2014. Oh, man. When I said Louisiana, as soon as I said it, the nightmares came back. I don't want to get into that. But, yeah, Kevin Steele, he was at Alabama. Him and Nick Saban, they seem like good friends. So that's the only good thing I can say. He also was the DC at Miami, which is concerning considering Miami's defense was pitiful last season. He coached the same Miami team that got routed at home by Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee State had 500 total yards of offense on Miami and beat them 45-31. So yeah, that's quite interesting. And to be honest, I'm not really going to hold how bad Miami was last season on defense against them, because Miami's just a crap show. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this comment made me laugh. Ricky Smith said on Twitter, people were really saying Saban was going to assemble the Avengers after watching UGA dominate the past 2 years, and he went out and hired Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele. Man, I mean, it really is funny, to be honest, because all these Bama fans, and I really wasn't saying this, but most Bama fans are like, okay, it's time for the revenge tour. We're about to hire. Well, first things first, we got to fire Bill O'Brien. Sorry, you know what? And then we got to get rid of Pete Golden. We did it, and we hired basically two no-names. They're just average. It is what it is. And to all my Bama fans, I love you guys, and I wish I could hype this up, but I simply can't. To my Bama fans, let me ask you a question. If Auburn hired Tommy Rees and Kevin Steele, what would you think about it? You'd be laughing. That's just the cold hard truth. But since we're Alabama, we're like, hey, that's a good hire. It is what it is. And hey, I'm not even going to say it's a bad hire, because Nick Saban has proven that he can hire literally a monkey. He can hire anybody out there, and they're going to do a good job. Tuscaloosa, Alabama is where the greatest rehab clinic resides at. I'll give you a great example. The difference between a good player is you hope on some days he can be great. But the difference between the good and the great player is a great player can elevate other players, whereas a good player can't really do that. Great players make average players good, and good players can sometimes have great games. Applying that analogy to this situation, that's what Nick Saban does. He's so great, he can elevate others. And when I say others, I'm not even talking about the players, I'm talking about assistant coaches. So as a Bama fan myself, do I think these are outstanding hires or even good hires? No, I do not. But here's what I will say. I'm willing to give Tommy Rees a shot, and I'm willing to give Kevin Steele a shot. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't excited, because I am. Kevin Steele, welcome to the team. Tommy Rees, welcome to the team. I'm happy to have you here. I'm excited for the future. It wasn't a knock against Pete Golden or Bill O'Brien, but we needed a breath of fresh air. It just wasn't working out. You got to be mature enough to sit up here and say, okay, I don't really think these are good or even great hires, but I think it could be a great hire. You see what I'm saying? Down the road, I could see myself sitting up here 2, 3, 4 years from now and saying, man, that hire when we got Kevin Steele back in 2023, that offseason, it was one of the greatest hires of all time. A lot of people in this life, their glass is half empty, whereas me, my glass is always half full. I'm giving these guys the benefit of the doubt. Interesting hires, interesting. You already know, we're going to talk about this more down the road. This is just my immediate reaction. Bama fans, not just Bama fans, college football fans, let me know your thoughts down below. And yeah, we'll probably read off some of the comments to this video, and the next one's coming up. But peace, man, bro.